What's up, everyone? Welcome to Open Minded. We're back with another random episode. I don't know. What are we going to talk about today, Zach?
I've been getting really into this ancient civilization shit, and it's so crazy. It's so awesome.
All right. Well, let's start with that and see where it takes us.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
Like the interesting thing is the houses you see around you are all solar houses.
21st Century Fox has been holding talks to sell most of the company to Walt Disney.
So I know you've been telling me to watch stuff about this for a while, but I've been mad busy. So tell me about it. Just give me a quick overview about what you've been reading about and watching about.
Like, these stones that are at, like, megalithic stones that are at these ancient sites are,
What ancient sites, though?
well, like, even Egypt. You have Egypt, you have Göbekli Tepe, you have, like, Incan places.
So all these
Machu
ancient
Picchu.
civilizations that we learn, we just basically skim over them in like grade school and stuff. We don't really learn in depth about like who they are and what they've done. Because like I know that they have to have had some type of technology in order to build these crazy monuments that are like that have been around for over 4,000 years.
Yeah. Well, the world record for the crane, for a crane, heaviest weight lifted in 2008 was 20,000 pounds. And there are, I could look it up, but you're not going to get it from my feed. But there are rocks or stones or whatever, like 200 tons in some of these sites, and some more, some like less, but still over. I mean, 100,000 tons, not 100 tons. That would be stupid. But that would make it 10 times heavier than the world record that we have for cranes, and they're from like hundreds of miles away. So like, they were definitely from this spot and moved over here, but they're 200 tons. I mean, 200,000 tons, and we have no idea how they could have done it. Remember that art thing or whatever, where it's a rock and you go underneath it?
No.
You never seen that? It's for like an art museum or an art piece, or some artist did it. He just has this giant rock and it's on these things and you go underneath it, and that's the whole thing. But it took them months to move that, and that's less than 20,000 tons.
And these
And these are supposed to be done by like, hunter gatherers and using fucking like bone tools and stone tools.
not necessarily. I mean,
Well, they definitely didn't
Well,
have
the
iron
Egyptians-
and using diamond cut edges. They definitely weren't supposed to have that technology. But how are they cutting
well, the
these rocks?
Egyptians were like a pretty big civilization. Like, and like, haven't you seen those renderings
they,
of them
they
with?
used rocks and they used bronze tools. Supposedly, that's what they used.
To move giant
Well,
hundred
from the things that I've heard,
thousand
I don't even think Egyptians made the pyramids anymore. Like, or maybe they made that, but the base is something else. Like, there's all these places, like they'll attribute them to like Romans and stuff like that, when they're definitely not. You could see the different layers. Like, this is a different civilization, and then Romans came by and made the wall bigger. Like, and you could see the different architectures.
I remember seeing.
Yeah, I
those
think I showed
pictures.
you one of those.
What were the what was the building style called? Like with the rocks
Polygonal
that were like
walls, I think they're called.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
like
and they weren't just regular
They've been
brick.
there for over like 10,000 years. In
Yeah, and
earthquake-ridden
those-
places, and they're still perfectly aligned. Like, you can't get razor things to like scratch in between it and everything. And there's no
and
mortar.
then the Roman walls that were built on top of them are like crumbling.
After the fact,
And it's crazy to think about because the Romans are what, like 2,000 years older than us, and the Egyptians are 2,000 years older than the Romans. So the Egyptian civilizations, the ancient Egyptian civilizations, are as old to the Romans as the Romans are to us, and yet they have architecture and that is still like completely
Well, here's
like perfectly standing.
Yes, exactly. But like, here's one thing that makes me think Egyptians didn't build Egypt. The greatest pieces of like architecture that Egypt created were the first things supposedly they made. As Egypt continued, normally a civilization gets better and better and better as it, gets older. The Egyptians were the best in the beginning and slowly decayed into nothing. Egypt is like a shithole now.
Yeah, but have you seen Joe Rogan's stand up when he talks about the Egyptians?
Maybe.
And he says, what happens if all the smart people die? Like right now, if all the smart people died, I don't know how to fix a cell phone or build a cell phone tower. I know how to use one, but if there weren't super smart people around to build those things for me, we would all be completely lost. And maybe that's what happened with the Egyptians. All the dumb people just outbred all these really crazy smart people, and then the smart people died off, and the dumb people like showed up to the pyramids one day for work, like, "Hey, I'm here for work. Where are you guys? I expect my check on Friday."
I could definitely
and then
see
they
something
just
like that happen. Maybe not outbreeding them, but like the smart people would eventually be like, "I'm not staying here. This is retarded. We're gonna go make another one." And then they go and make Rome, maybe. Who knows?
Or they leave the planet and go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, this is one thing I was thinking about. I think it's, you take the hexagon, and you make it a 3D hexagon, and then you make it as big as like a globe, and then you put the globe with it, and then you take one of the points of the hexagon and you put it on Egypt, and you rotate it, I guess, to try and see, like, if you got, just say, Egypt to be on one of the points, and then you were to somehow, coincidentally, one of the points also is in like Machu Picchu or some ancient Inca or Mayan or something, ruin, get them to link up. I wonder if other ancient civilization sites would link up with those other dots. Like, I wonder if
I'm completely lost with what you're talking about.
I think the civilization.
What do you mean by a 3D hexagon?
Three-dimensional hexagon. Like a square, and then you make it a cube. I don't know what the word for a 3D hexagon is. I was just thinking about it before. I think, like, because you take the ancient Inca ruins and ancient Mayan ruins, it's the same exact technology that they were using on the stones. The same exact shit. Like, they have these indents that are like T-shaped, and on the stone here, and then you fill it with like a metal, so it's like a staple that holds it together.
Mm-hmm.
They both have the exact same design for it, and they're an ocean away. And also, we have Egyptian pharaohs mummified that have cocaine in their system. So like, they were definitely talking to each other, and if like.
Because cocaine is native to like South America, and Egypt is all the way in Africa. Like, how could they have gotten cocaine?
There's no cocoa
if they weren't
in Africa, and it's also northern Eastern Africa. So, it's like the actual opposite side. They'd have to go onto this Africa and either go around it or, But yeah, there was definitely.
Yeah, they don't have a clear like trade route.
Yeah.
In order to. Trade
like,
with South America.
There's no way to explain that, like, other than they got cocaine from the Americas. There's no other way around it.
So, I mean, that means that either they had some super advanced technology, or not super advanced to us maybe, but advanced for the time, advanced enough to...
different. It could have been just a different technology. Imagine they had some sort of, I don't know, alloy or something where it just made it better to cut rocks or something. But like and they could move rocks better than us. Like, that's, who knows? Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's 4,000 years ago.
I mean, they could possibly have been, flying and doing shit like that. There's a lot of like ancient texts, like shit in the Bible and shit that the Bible comes from, that's talk about people flying and coming through, like doors and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, 4,000 years is a long time. There's
I'm talking like 12,000 years.
That's an even longer
Because
time.
Göbekli Tepe is
According to
about
my
that
math.
age.
That's a really long time. I mean, nowadays we have so much technology and we have the access to the internet. We have access to all the knowledge basically in the world. Yet, it can get lost in translation. Yeah. Facts and opinions are completely like mixed up.
That's the whole thing with there's no.
And then you think about like book burnings and like dictators who,
oh my God,
who destroy knowledge and in order to preserve what they think is like. Yeah.
Like these questions would have answers if that library didn't burn. Like we would know, It's so insane.
Yeah.
But like the Sphinx also. The Sphinx is like 20,000 years old. It was not built by the Egyptians. And it's not supposed to have the human head. It's that dog with the long ears, Looks like a Doberman almost. That the Egyptian ancient fucking god dog that I think he was like the guarder of like the afterlife or something like that, or you get the afterlife or something like that. Yeah, that's what it literally looks like. That it doesn't look like a lion. I don't know why everybody says it's a lion with a person's head. It looks like just any kind of animal really could fit that shape. But when you see that, you could pull it up for the viewers, like, and edit it in or whatever. It fits perfectly with the dog's head. I want to see if I can find it. Dog's head Sphinx. I don't know how you would word it.
Sphinx with a dog's head. Oh yeah, I see it right here.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but like you said, any real animal could fit that description.
Well, I mean, not like a bull or anything. I mean, it could be like a feline. It could be a canine. What else could it be?
Yeah, but okay, and Anubis is the god that you were thinking of. It makes sense because Anubis is one of the ancient Egyptian gods.
It's also an Inca and Mayan god. It does the same exact job too.
But isn't the Sphinx supposed to be an ancient pharaoh that like compared himself to a god, and that's why they replaced the head with a human's head?
Well, yeah, that's what I think happened. They literally chiseled the dog head out and made it this pharaoh's head.
Like it may have started out as the dog's head, and then they're like,
well, that's what I mean.
Let's make it this pharaoh instead.
Like Egyptians now found Egypt, and
they were like,
then they ruined it.
this place is pretty cool. Let's move in.
The more I hear about like how old the stones are, it makes me think that like they like polish away or something like the original walls, or maybe the original walls didn't even have hieroglyphs and everything all over, hieroglyphics or whatever their language is called. Maybe it was just blank walls, like a business place or some shit.
Like they were super like proper business people, like CEOs.
Well, not like, you know what I mean, like the building didn't have,
it was all clean and beautiful, and then all these other civilizations moved in with their graffiti, and they were like, well, let's tag the place up, man.
That's the perfect word for it. That's what it should be called. It is their language, but it's fucking graffiti on the buildings that they took over.
Who's the scientist that you watch that talks about these ancient civilizations?
Well,
I want to put a link
before it was Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, and people like that. But like now I'm getting into, I don't know their names, but I could tell their voices because they do like presentations, and I just watch a bunch of presentations on YouTube. It's probably so boring if you like were stuck having to watch whatever I watch, but like, yeah, it's
well, that's the good thing about YouTube is there's something for everybody.
Yeah. Like I'll watch a lot of just like college lectures from like Jordan Peterson and stuff talking about crazy.
I like Jordan
That
Peterson.
whole
He's good.
Pinocchio thing that he has is so cool. You listen to him talking about Pinocchio, and it's you never thought about it like that. It's so crazy. Yeah, but it's
Well, so what do you think about today's civilization? I mean,
Well,
they didn't have any type
yes,
of internet
exactly.
back then, so
like they didn't have like well maybe we don't know. I don't know, but I don't think they had an internet. I don't think they were going into space. I don't think they really.
they had technology.
Maybe they did.
Like they
How
had
did they
certain
move those
technology.
stones? How did they?
Well, haven't you seen those renderings of like the Egyptian slaves like pushing the
Yeah, but
stones?
that's so
and there's big logs
Yeah.
that they're like rolling them on.
The whole thing is like fake. Egyptians didn't really have slaves; they were paid workers. Apparently, that's what they wrote down. But like, and they definitely you can't do that. Humans can't do that. I'd like to see any. I would love to see people attempt to do the pyramid again. You know, like a whole bunch of like architects and mechanical engineers and all these people get together and they just go. They decide to place like one place in the desert and they're like, all right, we're just gonna build another pyramid the exact same time right here, and they just try and do it. I wonder if we could. I don't think we could. The stones are too big. Trucks can't, carry this shit. 200,000
Yeah.
tons.
Well,
Truck
didn't
can't
it
do
take
that.
like 20 years? Didn't it take like 20 years for them to build the pyramid?
I don't know how long, but I would definitely think it was in a person's lifespan from what they explain. Because it was built for this guy, by this guy, before his death. Which is, yeah, that has to be fake. Because no Egyptian pharaoh of their time has ever been found in the pyramids. In any of the pyramids. They're put in there afterwards, like hundreds or thousands of years later.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
like they were not originally a sarcophagus or a tomb or anything like that.
And the fact that also that we haven't brought up yet that the three Great Pyramids of Egypt are perfectly aligned
The
with
North, or I mean,
like-
Orion,
Orion's belt.
North Star. Yeah, Orion.
I mean, I guess they could have probably like I mean, that's how we think about stars and like the star system now. And like we look up, I even have an app that tells me like what constellations are where, and I still can't figure that shit out.
Well, there's also, like-
it's very complicated, but that's how they navigated back in the
Exactly.
day. Like they used the stars to navigate. We can't. I use Google Maps.
Ancient
but
Sumerians, which are older than Egyptians, had 8 planets on their thing, and two of them you literally can't see with the naked eye. You need a telescope.
Yeah, we
to see
didn't
these.
discover Uranus and Neptune.
Yeah, we didn't
until-
even, and we were using telescopes to look for this shit, and we didn't even discover it until like 300 years of having a telescope. Like it was found within I think 100 years. Uranus and Neptune. Neptune, I think it was Neptune, wasn't even found with searching for it. We mathematically predicted that it would be there from the orbits and shit like that. It was the first, I think, mathematical prediction that of a body affecting another body's through gravity or something like that. Confusing, but yeah, it's crazy. How did these ancient Sumerians know about these planets? Like, it's insane to think that they didn't have some kind of technology, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you see, even in the, like the hieroglyphics and stuff in the ancient Egyptians, you see like the sun god like rode in a canoe across the sky. That sounds a lot like
It sounds
a spaceship.
They just didn't have a word for it. They just used the word canoe.
Well, yeah, just like Christians say that God is a white man with a beard. It's like, huh? if there was a god, he probably looks like me. And then he like looks in the mirror and he's like this white guy with a beard, and so he draws himself and he's like, that's what God looks like. So like these Egyptians rode around in canoes on the water, and they're like, oh wow, it's like a canoe. We have one of those that lets us be on top of the water, but that one's cool because it lets you be on top of the sky.
Yeah. Like, I think that's literally what the boat in Egypt was for. Like, that found boat, it was the most like pristine boat of antiquity or whatever ever found.
Yeah.
And complete. And they say that if it was put in the water now, it would float. It would work. They're saying
Really?
It's not even really designed for water. From what I guess the inscriptions and everything, it was built to fly on the air, which it definitely can't do because it's missing a bunch of key components in order to do that. But like, yeah, they definitely thought of that shit. They probably couldn't build it, the Egyptians. I don't think the Egyptians are as crazy as everybody thinks they are. I think there was other people that were there first and helped make things, and then eventually Egyptians took over Egypt, and they were like, this is fucking stupid, and left and made some other civilization.
Maybe. I mean,
that's what
all
all like
happening
evidence,
all the time now.
all the evidence kind of points towards that, that the Egyptians, basically didn't make Egypt. It was first made by something else, and they left when it got stupid. Or maybe a desert, they probably saw it becoming a desert. They're like, yeah, this isn't gonna last that long. And
yeah, because in
Bronson.
4,000 years ago, the that part of Africa wasn't a desert, was it? It was.
Well, it was more than it. See, this is one thing about the Sphinx. There's so much water erosion damage on it, not like sand and wind. It's water erosion on it. It's insane. But the only time there would be enough water to do that kind of erosion was more than 8,000 years ago. So, and that's the last time there was even going to be enough water. You have to go back even further to now make that erosion over time. So the thing's like around 20,000 years old. It's crazy.
Is there a way to test rocks and how old they are?
Well, I was just saying, I think before, at some other time maybe. I don't remember everything perfectly. But there is a way. I think it's a way to they test since when the surface has been oxidized or some sort of thing like.
Oh, because I know that they can test organic material like
carbon dating,
fossils and stuff. Yeah,
but there is a way to, but it's insanely expensive. I think it was done once by some architects or something, or archaeologists, and it was insanely expensive, and it came to a number that didn't fit the narrative. It the stone was 20,000 years old or something like that, and for a civilization to make this 20,000 years ago, I think it was a museum or something that funded it. They're like, no, it doesn't work, it's broken. But meanwhile, now with all these new discoveries that we're finding, it's probably true. The thing was probably dead on.
It's funny to think that with all the technological advances that we have, as a modern society, we still are just completely clueless on so much. From the solar system and the galaxy that we live in, we hear about all these crazy things that are coming out in these scientific discoveries and stuff, but it's, I don't know, we only hear about it. We're not the ones discovering it. So how accurate can it be? And then when we look back into the past of our own Earth, we can only speculate what was happening back then. There's no records. We can, there's still so much that we don't know.
And if they were, they got destroyed or they're lost.
Yeah.
It's go.
And it kind of makes me scared that, like, one day all of the stuff that's here right now will be completely forgotten. Like, we have so much technology, we have so much to offer as a society, but it could completely be wiped out in, like, a war or just over time as our society crumbles. And like, you know, think about 12,000 years in the future. No one's going to really remember what was happening in 2018.
Yeah. Oh, I was just about to say something. Oh, I forget. No. Oh, it was so cool.
Well, I mean, it's crazy to think about. I don't know. If you guys want to give us your input, send us an email at openmindedepisodes@gmail.com.
Yep.
Or leave a comment down below. And if there's anything specific you guys want us to talk about or discuss or think about in a state of inebriation, just drop us a line, man.
Yep.
Yep. We'll see you guys next time.